Pats are having a hell of a year.
There we go.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another installment of Let's Talk About It, the Word on Real Estate. I am your co-host, Mr. William Bertiz, and right across from me, we have Mr. Mike Dunn.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Michael Dunn, CEO of Decade Financial Solutions, your one-stop credit shop. If you guys have any needs revolving around credit or finances, please feel free to reach out to me at 858-333-5559.
And right next to Mike Dunn, we have Mr. Clinton James.
Hey, what's going on, San Diego? This is Clinton James, your local real estate broker and associate broker with DEM Financial and Real Estate, often imitated but never duplicated.
There's only one of them. And I would love to present the person next to me to the left, but I think Mr. Clinton James could do a better job of that than I can today, because she's such a beautiful person, and I want to give him the honor to do that, since today is his show and he's running it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would say today's not my show, but it's our show today. But today we have a special guest, one of San Diego's best women real estate agents out there, one of San Diego's best leading black woman real estate brokers in San Diego. Now, if y'all don't know, her name is Denise Mathis. She's actually the owner of DEM Financial and Real Estate. She's also been on the board of SDAR. She's currently the newly elected second vice president of California Association of Real Estate Brokers.
Wow.
So she carries a lot of titles, too long for me to list. A lot of titles. But at the same time too, one that's close to me, she's my mentor. And one of the things about it, I've learned so much from this lady here in the past year of just joining her team. And I'll leave it up to her now to introduce herself.
Hey there, everybody. Thank you, Clinton, for your kindness. Have a lot of titles, but they don't mean anything if you're not doing the work
Yes.
for the people and the
Yes.
community. So
Yes.
titles, alphabet soup, all behind my name, but it's a matter of caring and
Yes.
taking care of people and treating them the way that you want to be treated
Yes.
and helping
Yes.
them build wealth. So
Yep.
happy to be here today with you gentlemen. Boss ladies in the house with a bunch of powerful,
Yeah.
powerful men. So I'm gonna have to stand my ground tonight.
Yes. So one of the topic tonight that we're going to discuss with our special guest Denise Mathis, because she's so close to real estate and close to our community when it comes to real estate, is black wealth in crisis. Now, this is a topic that is not to be taken literally, because it just is an alert for us to let us understand that we got to start making some moves when it comes to our black wealth. Because, and I'll let Denise talk to you a little bit about, and I'll just say we met through an organization called the National Association of Real Estate Brokers. She was the president when I became a member. And one of the things that I saw was how involved in the community they were, and how involved on a national level. NAREB actually does work in the community, which is they also bring out a report every year called the State of Black Housing in America. And that actually tells us what's going on in our community when it comes to wealth and creating wealth in our community through real estate. But just to have Denise just touch on what NAREB means and what is NAREB, I'll pass the mic over to her.
Okay. First of all, NAREB, N-A-R-E-B, is the National Association of Real Estate Brokers. They were founded in 1947, and usually when you speak real estate, everybody thinks about a realtor. I am a proud, caring, card-carrying realtor, but I'm also a realtess. And a realtist is a member of the National Association of Real Estate Brokers. And how it got started is that in 1947, we as African Americans, black people, Negroes, coloreds, whatever you want to call us, back then, were not allowed to join the Association of Organized Sales Professionals. So, a few people started, went to Florida, and they formed the Real Estate Association, known as NAREB. We've been going since 1947. Our mission is democracy in housing. We come a long way, but we still have a long way to go.
Yes.
Love that.
Yeah. And and also just keep in mind, NAREB is open to everybody. Any practitioner who's committed to democracy in housing and reflects and is able to join and become a member and acquire the name Realtus. Okay, because we are definitely pro democracy in our housing in America. Now, black homeownership rates, that's something that's really prevalent and relevant today. Now, black homeownership rates continue to decline. I just learned that we just went up by 2%. So just last quarter we were at 40.6%, but we went up by 2%. Now, that's good, but we still have a lot of work to do, because that 2% reflects a 1% increase from last year, right? That's good, as I said, but we're still the lowest when it comes to the demographics of our community in home ownership. So when we look at home ownership on a whole, black home ownership, we're looking at 6 out of 10 when we had 40% of the population. Only 40% of the population, black population, owns homes. That's 6 out of 10 people we know in our family, in our community, do not own a home, right? Now, that's concerning, and why it is because it creates a gap. That gap in home ownership rates between blacks have been larger now than in 1934.
But and not to cut you off, but one of the interesting facts about this, it wasn't that we were always at 40%. We started at, I think, around 40%.
Right.
And then some years went by and we increased home ownership.
Right.
To the point where more than the average black person did own a home.
Right.
So I think over 50% of us owned a home at some point, maybe almost 60%.
And that's true. That's
right.
very true.
And so now that we're back down to 40%, I see as that's the problem. It's like.
And what took us back down?
The economic crisis about
2006, 2007,
Yep.
Where we had increased. We had a big loss in home ownership through short sales, foreclosures, and a lot of people lost homes. But what they need to know is that they're able to re-enter the market and rebuild that wealth.
Yes.
Okay. Recently, I heard, what's her name, Delphine Pruitt. Yeah.
Yes.
And
Bank of the West.
she said, do not purchase at your maximum qualification.
Right.
Okay? So we have a tendency, if we, have $100, we spend $99.99. Okay? That's not being a good steward of our money.
Right.
Okay? We need to crawl before we walk. We need to be generational.
Right.
We might have to live together. We might have to start out in a condominium.
That's right.
Work our way up to a townhouse.
That's right.
Then work our way up to the house.
Right.
Then we can go to the beach. Okay? But you just continue to grow.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right.
And pass it down and, hang on to it.
Right.
I have a question. Why do you guys think, looking at our, society from a black community standpoint, a minority community standpoint, I mean, if by and large we know a vast amount of the economy, people in the economy were affected by 2008, 2009, and by and large we're seeing the numbers of other nationalities increase steadily in terms of percentage of home ownership.
Right.
Why do you think that those numbers are kind of been stymied in the African American community? What do you guys think?
One is lack of education, knowledge, and mindset.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I got burnt, I'm not gonna get burnt again.
Okay.
And not knowing that you can re-enter, you know, you think you lost a house, you know, so therefore, I can never buy again. It's not true. What's our statistics? 2-3 years on an FHA loan
3 years,
after
right?
3 years?
Right, there's 3 years, 4 years
Okay.
after, if you file foreclosure, that you can purchase a home.
Right.
Okay, so, you
And
know.
that's right, that's FHA, that's for government.
Right,
Yeah.
government loans, and then, you know, conventional,
Conventional is 2 years.
okay. So, and then other people think, you know, that you have to have a big down payment,
Right.
okay? And we're so busy driving around in our Mercedes and our Lexus and BMWs instead of our, you know, economy cars with a $700 car payment that we don't save.
Okay, can one of you guys, out of all the real estate experts in this room, can one of you guys give me just a kind of an estimate? If I'm a, you know, single or even a newlywed couple here in San Diego, what would you say, just, you know, average loan, average, you know, rate, how much would I need to bring, in order to, in a down payment, would I need in order to become a homeowner?
You
here in
said
San Diego?
average?
Yeah, just average. I'm not
Right.
looking for like the perfect scenario. I'm not looking for that, you know, I'm looking just by and large, just in your guys' experience. What would you say is
Well,
like an
I'm
average
glad you
amount?
brought that up, because this is something we all can definitely touch on.
Yeah.
'Cause I could touch on the lending part, and they could talk about the housing you can get with the money
Yeah.
that we're gonna lend to you.
Right.
So the average house around San Diego is around 600,
647.
Right.
around 647,000.
Okay.
Right.
And so you're looking at something like that. Can you get a down payment of 3.5%? Yes. You could
Okay.
put a minimum of 3.5% down on that home. It's an FHA loan, Federal Housing Association. And there's other banks that provide other opportunities where you can get 3% down, or you can get some type of grant program where they can help with your down payment. Now, if the average home is 647,000 and you're putting 3.5% down, then you have to look at what are my payments going to be.
Right.
So can you afford the home? And at 647,000, you're looking at a payment, and you put 3.5% down, you're looking at a payment around close to $4,000 a month.
So if you're saying the average home rate here in San Diego is 647,
That's the average.
That's the
that's the
median.
average,
Yeah,
right?
that's the
Median.
right.
That's
Yeah, median,
average,
median,
yeah.
okay,
Okay,
median average, right?
But
Right.
medium, you said it's you and your wife and maybe a child. So
Perhaps.
why is it that you need a 5-bedroom house, 2 stories,
Right.
3.5?
house, it's my dream house.
Now, and that's what we want to talk about.
And
We want to touch
that's
on.
what we need to talk
Yeah,
about.
that's what we need to talk
You
about.
know,
Okay,
The medium house in San Diego is, you know, over $600,000,
Yeah.
okay?
Right.
We all want that medium house,
Okay.
okay? We all want the 2-story with the stone and the fireplace in the backyard, you know, in the cul-de-sac,
yeah.
okay? But can you afford $4,000 a month? What is it that your income can substantiate where you can still let your daughter go to ballet lessons, okay? You and the missus can have a date night on Friday, okay?
Mhm.
If it's 2,500, then why not have a 3-bedroom and build up equity until you can get to that dream home?
Yeah, I love that. I mean, having a strategy, right?
Right.
Right.
You know, I've told my lady from the very beginning, I'm telling you right now, the first house that we buy together will not be our dream home.
The last home,
Right.
you know,
Yeah, and it won't
most
be the
people
last.
stay in a home less than 10 years, and it's really 5 to 7.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's even low in San Diego because of the military.
So for those of you guys who are watching, brass tacks, about 22K is a 3.5% on a 647 property, 647,000 on average. But there's a lot more affordable houses on the market.
Now, also, if we're in the topic of down payment as a real estate professional, we have to talk about down payment assistance programs.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Now, the first thing that everybody heard was 3.5% FHA. Okay, yeah, that's 3.5%, but if you're making less than 110, and hopefully my number is right, okay, then we have what we call CalHalfa, where they'll
Okay.
give you 3.5%. They'll give you that 3.5%, okay? It's a loan, okay?
Yes.
And the bank gives you the other 96.5. Then you can turn around and get even more money for your closing costs.
Mhm.
So it's all about mindset. Where you have a will, you have a way. I do know a seasoned person who had a desire to buy a home, okay? She closed last month. She has a nice house in Valencia Park, okay? Down payment assistance for the down payment,
Mhm.
down payment assistance for the closing costs, and she has a nice 3 or 4 bedroom home,
That's beautiful.
okay? It's what you're able to do, who you're able to, who's able to work for you,
Yeah.
okay? Credit, income, okay? Those are the first two things that you need to get through.
Of course.
Then after that, if you're paying, we are happy you're making our mortgage payment,
Yeah.
okay, by paying rent. But if you're paying rent, you can utilize and transfer that over to a mortgage, and it can be even higher because of the tax advantages that you could get with it.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think when you're talking about taxes, I think that is probably by far one of the most underrated reasons that people don't realize to buy. And I think a lot of what you're describing too, Denise, is just really just not having the fear to ask, like that. You ask a professional for help and say this. Like, I think before you even get to credit or even before you get to you know income, you have to start with what you said, which is the mindset of like, one, I am worthy to own a home, and two, I'm not afraid to ask for somebody to help me navigate through this terrain to get to where I really want to be. You know?
Right, yeah, and one of the things too is as you said, asking, even when it comes to closing costs, because there are concessions that almost every program out there has concessions to help with the closing costs. Because that's one of the things that always happens. Because I've heard stories where they can't come up with a closing cost, or the closing cost is too high, or they didn't have to put aside money for the closing costs, and they backed out. Closing costs, there's concessions out there, and you can't be afraid to ask. Even as professionals, we got to ask. Now,
What we're gonna do is, because this
It's
topic
getting
is
good.
so
Yeah,
great,
right. It's getting heavy as usual.
we have to go to a quick commercial break, but we promise when we come back, we're going to talk about more about Black wealth in crisis when we come back. You're listening to Let's Talk About It, the Word on Real Estate.
To us. Thank you for allowing us to serve you for nearly 6 decades. Your support enables us to continue to forge ahead, informing you with news tailored to your needs. In addition to subscribing to our weekly publication, consider using Voice and Viewpoint to promote your business and events. Call us at 619-266-2233 or send an email to ads@sdvoice.info for details on how to get started. If you have advertising needs, contact us. Our prices are both fair and reasonable. Follow us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Voice and Viewpoint or visit our website at www.sdvoice.info. Remember, a people without a voice cannot be heard.
GODRadio1.com would love to help you get the word out about your products, your business, your event, your ministry, your services, and more. Our advertisement campaigns are cost-effective and specially catered to meet your needs. Radio commercial ads are only $10 with a minimum purchase of $10. Advertisement packages may consist of radio ads, e-blasts, and social media campaigns. Call us up today at 858-251-6111, extension 505, and inquire about the services that are available to you. Our sales team will cater a package that fits your advertising needs. GODRadio1.com is here to serve you Call today at 858 251 6111, extension 505 for our account executive, or email us at godradio1@mandaterecords.com.
Welcome back to Let's Talk About It, the Word on Real Estate. I'm your co-host, Wayne Bertiz. No need for reintroductions because we're having such a great conversation. So, Mr. Clinton James, let's continue on with the convo.
Yes, so today we have our guest Denise Mathis, and we're talking about Black wealth in crisis. Now, we talked about homeownership rates in America. Now, the other thing now we need to talk about, touch on, is Black wealth and why homeownership and Black wealth is both tied in together. Now, just some statistics is that it's been reported that the median Black wealth for Black Americans will fall to zero by 2053 if current trends continue. Now, I know in our community, we're not one for statistics. We defy the statistics all over the place.
Amen.
Right? I always tell everybody we are powerful and resourceful forces in this world to reckon with, and that's how God has made us. Right? So we
Love
can
that.
defy these statistics. If we didn't have statistics, we would know what's going on, but we have to know what's going on and create some action. So this is what we're doing here right now, is giving solutions to how we can solve this problem together. Now, one thing we have to take into account, though, is that homeownership, which is the primary way Americans are able to leverage into building generational wealth, was not always accessible to us, right? So as Americans, so we are generations behind. So we started off a little bit late, right, in our community. But we have to understand this, and I want to repeat this. No one is coming to save us, all
Wait,
right?
what?
That's it.
Nobody.
Nobody coming.
Nobody's coming?
Nobody's coming to save you.
Nobody's coming to save us.
We got to save
Doesn't
ourselves.
matter if you're Democrat or Republican. Nobody
He's not
is coming
coming.
to save
Independent,
us. So one thing we need, once we understand that, there's not a lifeboat, a money lifeboat out there trying to find people who have money problems. But let's keep it real. You know, one of the things we have to understand is that everybody has money problems. You know, it doesn't matter. Some people have had money problems. Some people are going through money problems. And then some people are about to face money problems. But it's not about staying there in the wilderness. It's about how you react in that wilderness. And that's
Not
what
only react, your mindset to get out the wilderness.
Yeah, exactly. Because when we look at it, it's a biblical perspective. When we look at the children of Israel,
Woo! Here we go.
Right?
Come on.
I'm going to preach here. When we look at the children of Israel, their attitudes cause a short trip to turn to 40 years.
Right.
Right?
Thought we were
Go
just
ahead
going,
on.
thought we were just going up the street.
Okay.
Right. So now this is where we're going to come up with solutions and show you some solutions that are out there. All right? Because I know there's a lot of questions that a lot of people have, you know, that how do you get into homeownership? And there's three things we're going to touch on. Just to make it very short and understandable, we're going to touch on one, which is spend less, right?
Amen.
So here we go.
Yes.
All right? Credit.
Oh.
Repair, and that falls under credit. How does credit affect our financial ability to do not just buy houses, but do anything?
You can't do nothing if your credit is,
How
Mike,
do,
you know.
how does credit affect one's ability to be able to do anything? Oh my God, I could talk all day. You guys know about this. But just to make it quick and simple, credit is just a short word for credibility, or in layman's terms, your trustworthiness on paper. No one is going to buy or let someone lend you money if they don't trust you. That you wouldn't even let your cousin borrow money from you if you don't trust them. So why would a stranger who has millions of dollars be willing to give that to you if they don't trust you? Just when you think of credit, think of trust. It's just that simple. All the things that are implied by trust, whether it's getting a car, whether it's getting a home, whether it's getting a credit card, whether it's even getting a job.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah, you know, how does that apply? Like if the company can't trust me because I'm working for the county dealing with millions of dollars, but my credit is in shambles, meaning my financial situation is in shambles, how can the county trust me to be able to do my job? Well, they can't. And unfortunately, you are going to be stagnant, or a fancy way of saying not being able to move forward in life.
Yes, and that also comes another topic I want to touch on is that now we're in a situation where education is a huge factor in our community because now since we have a leading black lady here among us, we have to give applaud to all black women out there because right now y'all are leading in terms of education
yes,
among all communities.
killing it.
Mhm.
So
Love that.
but at the same time, we need to point out that it's still when we look at the um, net income or net assets or wealth in that community, it's still low. So one of the things that we have to understand is what are some of the ways in which we can actually start budgeting, right? Because I know one of the things about credit, it also includes a budget because we do have to spend less in order to repair our credit, but we also have to come up with a budget because what we're doing here is changing habits,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, what are some of the concepts that you all think that people have to come up with budgeting? Because budgeting could be a huge spreadsheet or it could be just simple habits of putting away money.
Well, you know how I feel about it, guys.
Right.
We've talked about this before, the 50-30-20 rule, where you
Right.
take 50% and apply that to your living situation. 30% is either to your, your personal expenditures that you may want to do, and then the other 20% is to savings. So 50-30-20. Now, if you're just getting this information for the first time and you're behind the power curve, then you may want to flip flop that 30 and 20. So make that 20 your personal expenditures and fun, and then that 30 needs to go toward the savings and debt so that you can get ahead and then look at bringing down that 50%. But we just did this with my sweetheart and I. She was just looking to get an apartment before we get in a position to buy next year, and looking at her, we literally just looked at her budget, what she brings home, her net income, not her gross. And then we minus that by 50%, and then also added in the other things that she has to pay for, like her car and her insurance. And then we were able to easily see, okay, this is how much you can afford in rent.
Right.
This number right here.
Right.
If you go above this number in rent, then you're going to be more than 50% of your income, your net income, is going to be contributing to your living, and that's never a good strategy to
Nice.
build.
Nice.
So
Now, and the other thing too, as I said, we just came back from our convention out in Nerab Region 15, Region 15 convention. We just came back from that. Amazing speakers, and one of the speakers out there actually, Dr. Lynn Richardson, she kind of showed us, broke it down for us, and that concept, it ties into her concept too. She just divided 20% into 10%.
really, 10%, 10%.
So, yeah, so 10%,
Nice.
she says, is for giving.
Ooh,
Or
yeah,
tithing.
tithing,
Right?
yes.
Because you don't want to be all messed up and jacked up financially and be bad with the Lord, so that's not a good look. Now, the second one is 10, so she said 10, 10, 30, 50.
Okay.
Right.
So the second
10% tithe,
tithe,
Yes.
10% pay
save.
yourself, save.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, and then this is key. Okay, 20% cash.
Right.
Okay,
Oh, carrying
okay,
cash.
30
Right.
30% cash.
Yeah.
And for people like me, okay, that don't do cash good, I have a cash account.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so I have a separate bank account
Ooh,
that I
that's smart.
put that 30% in,
Yes.
Mhm.
and that's my spending money.
Okay.
And like she said, if you go to the store, okay, and you have cash and you get up to the counter and it's $100 and you only have 75, you're going to make some adjustments. But if you had a credit card,
Right.
you would just put it on there.
Yes.
So take that cash, 30% cash. This is what I'm going to spend every month.
Yes.
Okay. And then the other 50%, Clinton,
Pay bills. Pay bills. We
Bills?
all have bills.
yeah, got
Bill
to pay the
collectors. They don't sleep. Bill collectors don't sleep. So we
They don't sleep?
No, 24/7. So that's
I love that.
they outwork us.
Yeah.
So one of the things about it is 50% you put aside to pay bills because as I said before, what you want to do is pay down those bills. Make sure those bills are paid on time too, because that also does affect your credit. Now, how does your credit score affect your ability to purchase real estate? And that's where we're going. We'll ask our money guy here, Mr. William Batiste, how would a credit score affect your ability to purchase real estate?
Well, each bank or lender has certain qualifications when it comes to what we're looking for as for credit score. Some are higher than others. the higher the credit score, then the lower the interest rate you can get. The minimum credit score you can get for a loan, the higher the interest rate that you receive. It's something I go through with my clients every single day when I run the best case scenario when it comes to credit and the worst case scenario when it comes to credit. And they can see the difference. They could be paying, 50 to a couple hundred more dollars a month, depending on the loan size.
Right.
And then sometimes I would tell you this: when it comes to banking, there are certain qualifications that we look for, but based upon your FICO score, there might be some adjustments we can make if you're lacking in some other areas. If your FICO score is really good, but your FICO score is not good and you're lacking some other areas, then they may not make those adjustments.
Right.
And I'm saying this talking to a person who used to work at a bank and is now an entrepreneur as well.
Yes.
So I mean, you understand how
Right.
banks just aren't black or white, but they can make some adjustments.
They can make some adjustments, and it's really important that you get with a trusted advisor.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yes.
There is a bank in San Diego. They don't do VA loans.
Really?
They do not do VA loans. So San Diego is a military city. So if they went to that bank to get a VA loan, they're going to tell them, "I'm sorry, we can't give you any money." Who wants to hear no?
And this is a military town.
But
Right.
that's just, their book of business.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm saying that to say that you have to get with a trusted advisor that's going to put you with the right bank. Okay? Banks have CRA, community reinvestment commitments to meet. So they may be giving away the house, the car, and 2 children just to meet the loans.
Can you expand on that a little bit when you say like banks have community reinvestment commitments to meet? Like what does that mean for me like as a buyer or as a consumer?
As a, basically, if I want to come into your community and take your money, I got to give you something back.
You got to reinvest.
They have to reinvest. So if, I'm building up down there, if it's Foods for Less, and I
Yeah.
want to do this and do that, I have to give back to the community because I'm going to come in.
Yes.
Okay. So one of the things, as a professional, we can walk into any bank and, ask them, let's see your report. Okay. To find that out. But as a trusted advisor, we're well aware what the different banks are doing. Okay. Wells Fargo, everybody's talking about them. They, made a couple of mistakes and stuff, but they have to reinvest in the community to get rid of that negative image that they have. I don't know the figure, but how many million? I mean, they're committed.
It's 9 figures.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they are committed to give out money to the underserved community,
Exactly.
whether that's Black, Asian, Hispanic, or whatever, but they're committed. So with that commitment, they have to change some of their guidelines.
Ah.
Okay?
So depending on the timing of when and having the right advisor to help me navigate, I could get into position with the right bank and be able to maybe qualify something that I may not have qualified for prior.
Correct.
Exactly.
Wow.
And this is good for individuals who live in certain communities across the United States who may feel that certain big banks or even smaller banks don't want to reinvest back into the community. And what Ms. Mathis is saying is every bank has to.
They're obligated.
Yes.
Has to.
Yeah.
That's really powerful information.
Yep.
That's really powerful.
And don't forget your little bitty banks.
Yeah.
We have a couple here, and I know that I had clients that were living in the 92102, or they had investment properties. I'll just keep it real. They had investment properties in 92102, and they had, 4 or 5. That's a good rate. But this bank came to me and basically 20% down. We don't have 20% down. We'll give you a 2.95 fixed 30-year rate.
Whoa.
Okay, but who had the 20% down? But a few of my clients had that much equity in their homes that they were able to refinance
And pull it out.
and not necessarily take money out, but just get that lower, that lower interest rate
Yeah.
with a lower payment that improved their cash flow. Okay, and
they think I walk on water. You know, they went from a, they went from a $3,000 payment down to a 2,000. You know, and
Yeah.
it's
That's
fixed.
good. That's awesome.
That's lovely.
But
Yeah.
they had that bank had to do it. He just picked up the phone. You know, he knew me and says, "Hey, this is what we got going on.
Yeah.
Do you have anybody?" You know, and it was one of my properties that I had listed, and hey, we can do financing, blah blah
Yeah.
blah. Well, yeah, that was great, but no one I knew had 20% of $600,000.
Yes.
But I took it, I manipulated it,
Yeah.
and some of my clients, they're they're happy with that 2.95, and that was just a situation.
And that's just the fundamental difference of having somebody like you in their corner versus trying to go this road alone, and
Right.
thinking that you have no options,
You
right?
see that? I work with her.
Okay. It,
We
it,
told you she bad, boy.
Okay.
She bad.
Knowledge is key, but you also it's who you know, but more important is who knows you.
There you
Ooh,
go.
love that.
You know what, ladies and gentlemen? We're going to take another quick commercial break. We are enjoying our conversation today with Ms. Denise Mathis. We're looking forward to you coming back and listening to Let's Talk About It, the word on real estate.
Fresh Faith Clothing, a brand that affirms, a brand that encourages one's faith to stay fresh each day, a brand designed to give voice to a message that can't be silenced. We are Fresh Faith Clothing, spreading the love of Jesus Christ. Check out our website, freshfaith.com, without the E, FRSH, faith.com, with positive and creative apparel for men, women, and children that makes a bold statement. Tomorrow's not promised. When we boast in the name of the Lord, we make Jesus famous. Join in the movement with Fresh Faith Clothing. For more information, call 858-650-3190, extension 303, or contact us at info@freshfaith.com.
The San Diego Voice and Viewpoint newspaper is San Diego's oldest and largest African American publication. We bring you news for and about our community. Your stories matter to us. Thank you for allowing us to serve you for nearly 6 decades. Your support enables us to continue to forge ahead, informing you with news tailored to your needs. In addition to subscribing to our weekly publication, consider using Voice and Viewpoint to promote your business and events. Call us at 619-266-2233 or send an email to ads@sdvoice.info for details on how to get started. If you have advertising needs, contact us. Our prices are both fair and reasonable. Follow us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Voice and Viewpoint or visit our website at www.sdvoice.info. Remember, a people without a voice cannot be heard.
GODradio1.com would love to help you get the word out about your products, your business, your event, your ministry, your services, and more. Our advertisement campaigns are cost-effective and specially catered to meet your needs. Radio commercial ads are only $10 with a minimum purchase of $10. Advertisement packages may consist of radio ads, e-blasts, and social media campaigns. Call us up today at 858-251-6111, extension 505, and inquire about the services that are available to you. Our sales team will cater a package that fits your advertising needs. GODradio1.com is here to serve you. Call today at 858-251-6111, extension 505 for our account executive, or email us at godradio1@mandaterecords.com.
Welcome back to Let's Talk About It, the word on real estate. We are here with Ms. Denise Mathis, and we're having a wonderful conversation about the world on real estate. The word on Black wealth in crisis. So we're enjoying so much the conversation. We're almost missing our commercial break.
Yeah, I know, right? That's always a good problem to have, right?
And we only have 20 minutes left, but
Okay.
we promise we'll try to get as much through and answer as many questions that you may have. And if you do have a question and you're watching on Facebook Live, please enter that question in the comment section, and we're able to answer those questions for you live, okay? All right, so let's continue on our conversation. Mr. Clinton James.
Yes, so we are. The topic today is Black wealth in crisis. Now, we talked about some of the statistics that affects Black wealth, and one of them that is the number one correlation is home ownership and real estate. Now, so we came up with some solutions, and we're going to touch on three of them today. One is spend less. We went through how spending less affects credit, how it affects savings, or also it affects how you budget. But one of the things that we have to actually highlight before we move on is there is an initiative right now that's put out by NARAB, and it's on a national level because there is something where 1.7 million millennials, Black millennials that is, are making over $100,000 a year.
What?
1.7.
1.7, and they do not own. So that is a little bit of a problem. But you know what? We're going to solve that because we have an initiative called HouseThenTheCar.com.
House, then the car?
Yeah, House Then the Car.
I like that.
And there's a website for it called HouseThenTheCar.com. So if you go to that website, you'll find a plethora of information and a lot of information that will help you if you're in that income bracket and you don't own, you can transition into owning. Okay?
Right.
HouseThenTheCar.com.
Yes.
Right. We are, they started rolling it out last weekend all over the country. And basically, millennials get out of school, they have student loans. They go out and buy this brand new car with this brand new job. And, cars are depreciating assets and, they have the ability to purchase.
Break that down for me real quick, Denise. When you say depreciating asset, what do you mean when you say that?
What I mean is that when you go to BMW San Diego, that's right around the corner,
Yeah.
and you buy that $50,000
Yeah.
BMW, you drive it off the lot, and you just go up one block,
Mm-hmm.
it's no longer worth $50,000.
Really?
It has just gone down.
Does my
Okay?
loan go down too?
No. Not until you make a payment. Whereas with real estate, you purchase a house for $400,000 and it's going to appreciate in a normal market. It should appreciate anywhere from 5 to 7%. And then as you continue to make your monthly mortgage payment, the balance goes down.
Okay.
So it's an appreciating asset.
So you're telling me that if I buy a house, the cost of my house, that's actually how much it's costing me, actually goes lower over each month, and the actual value of my house continues to go up?
I'm not going to say the cost. I'm
Okay.
going to say the value. Your cost
Okay.
remains the same,
Okay.
okay, until it's paid in full,
Till it's paid in full.
okay? But the value continues to go up and your balance on your loan continues to go down.
Okay.
So that gives you more equity, okay? And equity, hey, it can put the kids through college.
Yes.
It can buy that second property.
Yes.
It can buy an investment property. It can even help you in your retirement.
Go ahead. Sounds like you're saying
I
something.
was going to, I like this idea of a house, then a car. And when you say house, then a car, it doesn't necessarily have to mean where you live. House. It could mean that instead of buying that $50,000 BMW, you get a loan to purchase an investment property to help with income, because that's another way where
Right.
you use that income.
Cash
where-
flow.
Yeah, it helps
And-
with your cash flow.
And
You
that's
know-
something we're about to touch on
And
too.
you're still a homeowner.
Yes.
You
yes.
know, and if you are a millennial,
Right.
okay, why not buy a duplex?
Mm.
Live
Amen.
in one, rent out the other.
MFUs, baby. Here
Okay.
we come. Here we come.
Okay, why not buy a house that you can put a second unit on?
Right.
Okay,
Man.
let somebody else pay your rent. You're not there half the time.
Denise giving
anyway.
y'all the keys to the keys to the
Okay.
kingdom right here, right here on God Radio 1, right now.
And that's where we move into number 2, get more money. The number one issue that we always hear is that I don't make enough money. And we understand that in our community, we are in the lowest in terms of income earners in most demographics.
but there is ways you can get more money and get into that house. Now, ways to get more money. Now, the first thing we need to understand in terms of how that works is our debt to income ratio, right? Because that's a very important factor when you're going to buy a house, is debt to income, because understanding that makes you understand, okay, well, how much income I need to have and how much debt I need to have, right? The less debt you have is good, but the debt to income ratio, we know that most people carry a lot of debt. The debt to income ratio is very important. So I want our real estate professionals in here.
Yeah, I mean,
There's a couple.
yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I mean, if you have two people, and Denise and I, we've done home buyer workshops, and Clinton and I have done home buyer workshops as well. And this is the same thing we talk to people all the time, is you have two people working at the same job, have the same income, and have the same credit score. Everything's virtually the same.
Right.
Except one person has a little bit more in debt compared to the other person who has less in debt. Let's say they have little to none debt. The person that has more debt could buy less house because he has less income.
Right.
So when you say, so for those listening, when you say debt to income ratio, that means your debt takes away from your income. If you make $10,000 a month and your debt is $5,000 a month, how much money do banks say you make a month?
5,000.
5,000.
Right.
Compared to if your counterpart is making $10,000 a month and they have $1,000 a month in debt, how much income do they have? 9,000. So debt to income is important, realizing that if you are looking to buy more house, if you can afford it, the less debt you have, the more house you can buy. And then as real estate brokers and real estate agents, they want to see that how much you can afford
Right.
before they start driving you around.
Right.
Saying, oh, I want this house and I know I can afford it because I make X amount of dollars per month.
Right.
And then when they see that conditionally approved letter, they're like,
We
no,
got to take you over here.
Right. Right.
Another thing that's important, just, as wage or salary, you need to have different sources of income.
Yes.
Yeah.
Multiple streams of income.
Yes.
You might, work for the U.S. government doing whatever as a GS-13, and your hobby may be cooking.
Yes.
Why not have a side job or
Yes.
as a restaurant on the weekend
Right.
or as a caterer? Okay, or you might so entrepreneurship is huge,
Yes.
and especially when it comes to income and coming to tax advantages. You
Right.
can write stuff off.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so just don't count. There's no more pensions. Okay, you have to find another way for retirements. Self-employment. Be your king.
Mm-hmm.
You could be down at Sony or the county, and next month they can say
peace.
sign up.
So true. I mean, entrepreneurship by far is, we talk about it all the time. I mean, and especially today in this day and age, like, do not tell me that you cannot figure out a way to make secondary income
Yep.
with all of the
That side
resources.
hustle.
That's right.
Yes,
Side hustle.
yeah, like seriously. I mean, they have apps now that you can literally, if you have nice, you can resell your clothes and make money. And I know there's people that have turned like Poshmark and places like that into an entire business.
Business.
Yep.
Where they are literally going into like thrift stores and reselling them online for, I have a buddy, he's a sneakerhead, like to the max.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently they trade sneakers now like stock prices, like on the shoe market. I didn't even know that it was even
Yep.
Wow.
it goes that deep. Yeah.
It does.
And he done sold a few pairs for thousands of
Yeah,
dollars.
yeah.
I'm like, wait, what? But so don't tell me that there's not a way for you to make a secondary source
If
of
you have
income.
an old concert T-shirt that has a date on it from 30 years ago, even if the shirt's all beat up and may have some holes in it, you probably couldn't sell it for $100.
Really?
And
Yeah.
and multiple streams of income is also very important for building wealth. Just keep that in mind. Now, the average amount of streams of income most wealthy have is 9. That's the average. 9 includes passive income, created from investments. Okay, now
So what's explain passive income?
okay, so passive income is income that when you invest in assets that pays you, you don't have to work for it, it works for you. You get money based upon appreciation and value, like say stocks or rent. It's passive income. Income that you don't have to pretty much say work for, right? Now, just keep in mind too, why we hitting on this is because number one, there's only two systems in America, right? One is employee, which is there's 10 to 12 tax deductions. And then the second is business. Guess how much tax deductions there is for business?
I don't have enough
I think
fingers
it's over
and
450,
feet.
I think.
475?
475
Yeah.
tax deductions, right? Now, we're not saying you have to be the next Facebook or the next Amazon. We're saying you can turn your side hustle, your hobby, or your small little business at home into official business, right? And why that helps is because that creates income, all right? And because that's the main thing we want to do. Now,
And people like doing what they like doing.
Right.
I can't. I mean, being a business owner has by far been the greatest award of my entire
Right.
life because not only do you, like you said, you love doing what you love doing, but the thing is that I really love the most about being a business owner is that I get to serve people the way that I've always wanted to serve them. I actually get to be there in the trenches. Sometimes I get to pray with my clients. You know,
Nice.
Yeah.
in a corporate
Nice.
job, I couldn't do that. You
Nice.
know, I can sit there and cry on the phone with my clients if they need a shoulder, if they're talking about something really emotional, or I can give them a kick in the butt if they need it. And I wasn't able to be able. I didn't have that kind of freedom. Working for someone else.
I love my job
Right.
Yeah.
now.
Right.
I was corporate. I worked for a bank for 20-something years. I had to pay someone to pick my child up from school
Mm-hmm.
and take them to Pop Warner, and then I would show up later on. Now, people in our field are entrepreneurs. They go to work, they drop the kids off at school at 8, okay? They go to work at 9, they shut down at 2. They're back at home with the family, okay? Taking them to ballet lesson, taking them to, karate lessons, feeding them, getting homework done, and then at 8 o'clock putting them in bed, and 9 o'clock doing their work again.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just so much freedom.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, you make your hours, you do what you need to do, and you make your money.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
right.
hustle. And that's the thing is, this is also biblical because one of the things that I heard from you all might know this author who wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad is that we have
Kiyosaki?
yes,
Robert
guy
Kiyosaki.
Robert Kiyosaki. He said employees work, pay taxes, and then spend. Business owners work, spend, then pay taxes. Right?
Mm.
Now, what we're saying is turn your hustle into a business. And in a spiritual concept, hustle, Hussle, means holy and unapologetically start to seek liberation through entrepreneurship.
I never knew hustle meant that.
All right.
Okay.
That's new.
Say it again. Say it again.
Holy and unapologetically start to seek liberation through entrepreneurship. And this is also biblical. Okay, so this is a Christian radio show, so we're going to go biblical too. This reminds us of the virtuous woman in Proverbs, where she was a great wife and a woman of faith. But in Proverbs 21, 31, it reveals that she was also a great
Great
businesswoman.
businesswoman.
All right, she had 9 jobs or hustles, multiple streams of income. She even bought real estate and planted a vineyard to create passive income.
Mm.
Right? So this is something that shows us that, hey, it's okay to actually keep that job. We're not saying leave your job, but if you want to increase that income, side hustle. All right? You can turn that
So
into
how many
business.
of you guys out there have a side hustle?
See, I need to work on mine.
Okay.
Just
I'm
being
gonna hold
real.
that. I'm gonna hold you to that for
I need
2020.
to work on mine.
I like that though. Accountability. I like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, and it's and Clinton and I were talking about this earlier today. If looking back, I wish I'd have started entrepreneurship at 15, 16 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have been as simple as washing cars down the street or mowing lawns and
Right.
turning that into something. And it doesn't have to be some type of big thing that you do initially. It could just be something simple that you're good at. And when I think of entrepreneurship, I think of marrying some type of good hard skill that you have, something that you got training on, with your natural ability, some type of soft skills
Right.
that you
Do
have,
what you like.
what you like,
Yeah.
and marrying the two, and then going out there and serving the people that you feel need your assistance or help.
Yep. Yep. And with that, that leads us into our last topic, which is get your money back. One of the concepts I've heard with a lot of wealthy people is they pay themselves first, right? And how they do that is through tax deductions. As we mentioned, there's only two systems: employee, business. Businesses have 475 tax deductions. Now, keep in mind, your accountant is not liable to tell you everything about tax deductions,
Mm-mm.
right? What we're saying here, I can't give you tax advice, right? But I'm saying you can study it on your own, right? You can learn what tax deductions there are. There's even people out there like Sandy Botking who holds webinars. He's a former IRS attorney and CPA holding webinars about tax deductions. Now, why that's important is because I learned something over the weekend, right? Because I pay child support, right? And that's not easy, especially being number one on the commission. But I just found out that you can actually employ your kids. You can actually employ your kids.
Mhm.
with
Instead of saying
home-based
get a job,
business.
you can give them a job.
That's it.
Right. And you would employ, and it's a home-based business. You can employ kids in a home-based business, and on top of that, deduct whatever
I didn't know
the
that.
salary. Yeah. I didn't
Remember,
know
we're
that.
not giving
tax
tax
advice.
advice. You need to go to your CPA,
Right.
Yes.
okay, your EA,
Right.
an accountant, and ask them, how do I do this?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, you will be amazed,
Exactly.
okay, of what you can, all those sneakers, all those ballet classes, all
Yeah.
that stuff, let them pay for it themselves. But you employ them to do a job. We got chores. I
Yeah.
know I had chores,
Yeah.
okay? You pay them, let them pay their stuff, talk with your accountant.
Yep.
Wow.
And the second thing I wanted to touch before we end is HRA accounts. Everybody is concerned about health care. Now, did you know? Because that's the number one thing a lot of people are scared to do when they transition into becoming a business owner is healthcare. Now, HRA accounts are healthcare reimbursement accounts you can open with a bank, and everything you put in that healthcare reimbursement account to pay your bills, you can actually write off. And now, as I said, I'm not a tax professional. Go to your tax CPA and ask him about these things. As we mentioned before, ask, but get the information and ask. So as we end, let me turn it over to our lead host, William Bertiz.
Well, Denise, I just want to thank you so much for coming to our show. She's one of the first people I met when I got into real estate, and we met the first time we met. She just gave me a host of knowledge and connections with people, and I said, this is the person I got to attach myself to. So, but before we go, what is it that you want our listeners to know as we end the show? What is your word of advice?
To have faith, to seek guidance, and not be scared. Okay? Don't be scared. Okay? We make mistakes.
Right.
We have to crawl before we walk.
Mm-hmm.
And you may be rolling this year, and you may not be rolling next year. But it's just a temporary setback for a setup.
Ooh.
Find a
Amen.
trusted advisor. Make a plan. Okay? Find someone to keep you accountable for it, and go for it.
And how can our listeners reach you if they want to contact you for any real estate? If they want you as an advisor, how can they reach you?
Well, it's Denise Mathis. Mathis is spelled with 2 T's, but I'm sure that you can find me any kind of way. Just Google me. My cell number, SMS, is 858-414-2774. Again, 858-414-2774. And if you can't remember that, Google me. You're going to find me. I'm the broker owner of DEM Financial Services and Real Estate. Google that. I'm out there. I'm in the community. I'm around the state, around the country, And I thank you guys for bringing me here.
Thank you for
Thank you
coming.
very
Thank you,
much.
Denise.
You're
Thank you
listening
so much.
to another show. Let's talk about the world in real estate. See you in 2 weeks.